All right, guys, what are we going to call this? Bush mechanics or alternator, replacing the alternator. Basically, the deal is, this is not going to be one of the short videos. This is going to be one of the awesome detailed videos, okay? And you'll be able to tell the difference when you see the videos. If they're about the 10 minutes type mark, they're just, you know, kind of a quick, really good hit of information, but trying to keep it quick, and there's going to be at least one a day. And then every now and then we're going to have a longer one. It might go for half an hour, 40 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. It's not planned, it's just how long it takes, right? With the maximum information, and that's what we're doing now. So, you know, this is our 120. We're going to pretend like the alternator's failed and we're on the side of the road, out in the dirt and dust, and we've got to change it. So it's going to include what parts, what tools, what procedures, can you do it on the side of the road, and what are the, you know, and I've got to be honest, you know, normally we'd probably have it on a hoist where at least the wheel's up a little bit to give us a little bit more room between, because we're going to get into it between the tire and the wheel arch. Here you can see on the 120s, these rubber flaps, they kind of, you know, fall apart and go missing sometimes. This one's done nearly 400,000 k's. You can see how good a condition if you look after things, right? So, but what I've purposely done at this side, I think a clip might have went missing or something. So rather than replace the clip, I cut away the rubber for one day when I need to access that alternator, so that, you know, I don't have to go, you know, and take all this out. I can just reach in and get to it, you know what I mean? We're not going to do it all from there, but I'm hoping the alternator is going to come out from there, or we're just going to have to remove that clip there anyway, right, and just fold it down. So in prevention, as far as prevention goes, obviously staying out of bog holes and stuff like that's a good idea, because mud equals money. You can see down there we've got the original, still got the original genuine Denso alternator. As I said, 12 years, nearly 400,000. I keep saying nearly, you know, we've been under that 400,000 k mark for a while, you know. COVID-19, 2020 lockdown, only done less than 20,000 k's on this vehicle in the last year, which is not bad going considering what we've been allowed to do. So, a couple of things. Firstly, when on a 1KD or a similar vehicle that's got a pretty high, you know, power usage, when your alternator fails and stops charging, it's going to flatten your battery relatively quick. So it's worth having some decent batteries and a dual battery if possible. Something else we do, let's go to the back of the car and I'll show you what I've got to spare there. We're going to kind of do this a little bit in the dark because, you know, one-handed business and all that. This is not where it always is, but look, in this box here, right, I'm going to slide it out and get it opened up if I can. Right, I'll show you. We've got our spare. What's our spare? Well, you know, you could go into some shops, they'd charge you $300 or $400 for this. I'll just put the thing down, right, okay. Got it out of the box, right. I can tell you that this alternator will be sold under a lot of different brands, you know, and guess what? It'll do the job. How do we know it'll do the job? Because we test fitted it, A, for practice and to make sure it works, because it is a Chinese copy, whatever the case may be. Doesn't look too bad. I don't know what the quality of the internals is. At the time we purchased, I think it was about 250 bucks. And it's never been used between a group of 4 or 5 of us that do trips or do trips together from time to time. Anyone can carry it as their spare on a bigger trip, but quite obviously I organise a lot of the trips, so most of those people will be there. So generally I carry it, not always. We carry a spare alternator and a spare starter on the bigger trips. Pays even on the smaller trips. Now, you don't want everybody to have to do this, but just depends how far you're going from home. Something to think about. Now, the idea of it is if you're on a trip and your alternator fails, you can change it on the side of the road. It's not a permanent solution, although it is for some people, but for me, you know, I like the genuine parts thing. So like magic, we're on the bench now, right? We're on the bench. We come from the back of the car to the bench. So this is our spare, which we'll continue to carry, or maybe someone else will, because it's more likely they're going to need it now. Nearly 400,000 Ks, and on a trip recently, a few months ago, we had the 120 in the afternoon. The battery light came on, checked it, the alternator wasn't charging. All the testing and everything we checked and did that afternoon, couldn't get it to charge. Put the batteries, luckily we're in a park, we put the batteries on charge in anticipation of trying to make it as far as we could towards home, and then RAC total care to get us the rest of the way if required, or the other battery, or whatever the case may be, right? Anyway, long story short, that was about 3 months ago. We've been back in Melbourne, driving around every day, every other day, done thousands of kilometres, not that many thousands, but thousands, and lots of stop-starts, and have not seen the battery light since. The day we started the vehicle, it was in Deniliquin. We were driving home. It was fine until about 20-30 minutes into the trip, and the battery light flickered and the voltage dropped momentarily once or twice. That's in another video, right? So if you follow the videos, you can see that. So my solution was, well, I really need it not working to be able to test it and diagnose the problem. So it wasn't happening, right? So I spoke to the auto electrician. He said with those alternators, yeah, not worth fixing, kind of can't get parts or whatever. And I don't know if he's been a bit lazy, but if he did, he loses, because you know what I did? I went bang and brought a genuine Toyota alternator. There it is, right? There's the brand newie there. Right, bada bing, brand new genuine one. And that is what we're going to put on the vehicle, right? Bada bing, bada bing, bada bing, bada bing, bada boom. So let's go back to the car. We've been clear about, you know, what we do as prevention. Just in case we've got one of those. Now, what tools do we need to carry? Now, to change the alternator, the process is going to be basically disconnect the battery, which is over there, of course. We're going to need to remove the drive belt to get the belt off the alternator. For that, we're going to need a 14mm going down onto, if you can see, that bolt down there, and my finger's pointing to it right now. My left foot, look at my left index finger, it's hard to hold it still. Look at that. Look at that, with a crazy pointing of the left hand, the way I'm situated. Look at it. Got a crazy left finger when I'm pointing like that. When I point at drive belts, I've noticed that one before. Anyway, there you go. Now you're getting to know too much about me. Anyway, we're going to use the 14mm on a breaker bar to put pressure down on that, to take the belt off the alternator after we've disconnected the battery. Then we're going to get down behind the alternator. And if we look, let's go down there. There's that cover right there. We're going to pop that plastic cover off. And then we're going to undo that nut. I can't remember really. I think it might be a 10mm going by memory what's under there. There's a plug that can be quite fiddly to get out, which is going to be, I can't even see where I'm putting you at the moment. I'm just going to risk it for the biscuit and say somewhere down there, or I'm just moving around. You might get to see something, you might not. We're going to undo that plug. Hopefully I'll be able to show you more later. I just took a guess that you might have seen something, but you probably didn't. We've got to undo that plug. And we've got to get to this. There's a top bolt and a bottom bolt. One you can see from here, right? Where is it? Making things look hard. Right there in the middle of the picture, right? So right next to that wiring loom, top bolt. And there's a bolt underneath the alternator you can't see from this position. Let's go down the bottom. Right. And have a look-see. See that bolt there? You can see it right there. No, it might even be a 12, that bottom one. I've got a feeling, I don't know what the top one might be, 14. That's the top one in the picture here. Okay, I'm going to do something for you, right? Top, I know you're a bit sideways, but your top of the left of your picture is your top bolt, and the bottom of the right of your picture is your right bolt, if this works out, right? Okay, bada bing. We're going to get those bolts out. I'll show you what I can, but it's as simple as that, guys. You know, take this flap off here at the side, right? Take that clip out, drop that flap down to make it a bit easier. We'll probably do that. If you've got a jack handy and want to jack up the car to give yourself a bit more room to get your arm between, you know, the bull bar and the tyre here, or if you want to turn full lock to the right, you know, I mean, it'll give you more room to reach in between here, but of course your tyre's going to be poking out at you a bit more. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. We'll roll a video. I'll get the job, you know, a bit of editing on and off, but we'll get the job done, and I'll show you the sizes and what I struggled with and not, and tricks, and you know, we've changed a few alternators. I'm not saying I've done gazillions, not as many as an auto elect that does alternators all day, but I've done a few on these, not too many. Luckily, they're not a big problem, but it's worthwhile knowing how to change it if you're on a trip and it does fail, so you might want to have a spare or whatever the case may be. Bada bing. All right, back up here. And let me grab some tools and let's get this show on the road. We're going to do it in fairly dark conditions, because if you're at the side of the road it could be getting dark, so no other lights than what's on the camera, because you might have your phone or phone camera type thing. Obviously what we're going to do here is 10mm spanner, right, to disconnect the battery, or the battery, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter, right? We're going to disconnect that battery cleanly like that. Now the problem we got at the moment is, I'm going to tuck it down there out of the way, if I can, so that there's no accidental making connection when I'm not planning for it, right? So it's down there, it's not coming anywhere near here. And you might just throw a rag over there as well to be sure. At the moment, I've got my isolator keeping the two batteries connected, which means the positive, it's kind of earth still through the other battery, the whole car. So at the moment, if that positive earth lead touched the earth of the body, it's going to create sparks or whatever. So I'm just going to momentarily go and switch the fridge on, because it's not on at the moment. And with any luck, that's going to disconnect the two. No, it's still on. Okay, come on. No, I just went click then, right? So fridge is back off again, right? So it created enough. The two batteries are still connected. Engine got switched off like 10-15 minutes ago, right? You know, you're driving at the side of the road, you know, dirt, dust and whatever. So you might want to have a tarp to put down so you don't get too grotty if you want to keep your car clean. Bang. Important that you disconnect both batteries, or know that. So now that it's disconnected, the positive here only gets to the isolator, the negative doesn't matter because it can't do anything without the positive, right? So basically, yeah, if my calculations are correct, yeah, that's to that, yeah, and the negative only goes to there. We're going to find out, right? So we're definitely going to find out. I should probably do some tests during this video to be sure, but sometimes it just gets a bit hard on my brain trying to work these things out. How many batteries you need to disconnect to make sure it's disconnected. Main one's disconnected, the other one's disconnected from this one. I'm 99% sure we'll be right. All right guys, just a quick video in case there's any doubt in my skills whatsoever. Replacing an alternator. I just want to show you again the easy way. All right, you get the tool. This is replacing the alternator or taking the tension off the drive belt. It's as simple as hook that breaker bar on, pull it up like that, right? Then hook the belt off, right? So the belt's off now. The belt's off. Release that, right? So the belt's off. You go change your alternator, whatever you want to have a look, right? I'll just show you, get you in there and give you a good look, right? So you can see the belt's off, right? Sit tight and we'll get the belt back on again. Right, just in case there's any doubt. I don't want to, you know, I want to sort of demonstrate things, reality check, you know. So you grab your bar again, bring it back up here to about there. Right, hook your belt back on. Make sure the teeth are in the right spot. Release it again. Now that belt's back on, like that. Take you in there and show you quickly. Right, so it's back on. That's how easy it is to get on and off. Always, as I said, triple check. You're not sure if that's real. If there's going to... Okay, I figured since we're up the top here, we might as well get to that bolt. Right, that's your top alternator bolt there, right there. It's a 14mm, I reckon. So as we've got the 14mm on the bar, we'll climb up in the bull bar again, right? And I've got the light there ready to show you what's going on, but like I said, this is the longer version, guys. If you want the quick how to change an alternator or whatever, this is not the video for it. This is going to be the one that shows you what you're really looking at. Let's see if we can just gently get that off without losing. So by taking that off the belt, may just try and tuck that belt around the pulley there like that. If the belt stays where it's at, it'll just make it easier to put on again later. Come on, what's going on? What's going on? There it is, we've got the, there it is, right, remember that? Right, we're just gonna take it straight to the, I can't see the bolt from where I am, so I'm sort of swinging in the wind, sort of going, what's going on? Where's the bolt? Right, so we need to go down there like that. Right. I'm gonna go quite painful trying to stay out of the way of your view, and I'm trying to show you what tools you might need. So look, you're going to need a short extension, right? If you're going to use that tool, we need a short extension. Is that going to work? Or maybe a deep reach 12mm might work better. Let's just see. I've got a short extension here. Oh, I'm not saying these are the tools you have to use. I'm just sort of going, well, you know, I've got one handy. Let's see if that works. Right, then you can, you know, it's kind of a bigger bolt too, so that extension's a bit long now. It's a bit of a pain, but we're on the bolt. Yeah, nah, you know what? That just getting that emergency toolkit out the back of the car is going to be the go. So let's just pretend for a moment we've got a king chrome lock on, and we're going to grab a 14mm. I still think you're going to want a 14mm deep reach is going to be the trick, right? 14mm deep reach. Because it's just going to give you that bit of extra length. That's a 13. What's going on? Where's my tools one of these? That's a 12, that's a 13. We'll find it eventually. Okay, missing the action 14. We'll find it. You'll be just going, oh, this guy's just hopeless at changing alternators, you know. Oh, right, okay. Right, 3/8 drive, 14mm deep reach to give you a little bit more reach, and then simple as that. We get in there, we cracked it loose. Right, it's just a matter of, I mean, again, I'm trying to show you, but right, I'm sort of just. How about we go? How about we? If I put the light there, yeah, so you don't see nothing. How about if I put the light there like that? There you go. That's good. It's not too bad, right? I'll go back around this side. Try and stay out of your way. And we just. Yeah, I can't see what I'm doing again, lost the bolt. Right, so awkward when trying to demonstrate, right? But you can see what I'm doing, I'm just undoing the bolt, right? So you don't need to watch me do that. So next step, we're not gonna take that bolt out yet. We've just cracked it loose. We know we can get at it feel easy. Now it's time to go down below. And it's gonna get all fiddly and stuff. All right, so what do we say was gonna be easy to get this flap out of the way? See if this clip comes out without mucking around too much. Right, we need to get that clip out. You're going to get a bit dirty doing this job, guys, I'll tell you now. Right, and to get that clip out, it's going to be a pain as well. You need to have the little, release those two little prongs either side. So let's try, what are we going to have on a trip? A flat blade screwdriver. So I'm going to go and grab a flat blade, and we're just going to gently pry it under that and see if it pops out easily or not. So we can do things the easy way or the hard way. And to show you, I can get through there and you can get through there, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to throw the jack under here, right, and cheat a little bit. Anywhere, whatever, right? So if you've got your normal car jack, you might even do this, right, just to make it a bit easier for yourself. I'm mainly doing it to show you with a bit more access, right? See what's happening, it's just opening things up here a bit so it can get in there, right? So I'm not going jacking it off the ground, getting the wheel off the ground, just opening up the space between here and here so I can get in here a bit more, right? To show you a bit more of what's going to be going on here. See, this flap came straight out, little flat blade, pop that clip out, just gently bent that down a bit. Here's the alternator. We're going to take that grey plastic clip off the wire there, if we can, without busting anything, doing it all with the wrong hand and all that, you know. Again, I don't know what you're going to see. Just one of those jobs, guys. That's why it's not done, because how do you get a camera in there, right? So basically it clips around the wire, right? So you got to get right up the back of it there, right up this end of it, and unhook underneath it, kind of thing, and then it'll slip towards us, right? So I'm going to put this thing down and get that clip off. It's not that hard to get off this cover. I shouldn't call it a clip cover. See how it's just sort of, you know, it goes over the wire. You've got those two little tabs there hooking onto the wire, and it sort of hooks on at this end too, you know. So, but basically, you just need to open that up and slip it this way, and then what you're looking at is your wire, your 10mm that we talked about. And if you see behind it, see that plug there? That'd be quite fiddly to get out, right? So that little tab up on top of it, That's the one you got to gently push down on at the very outside, pulling on and wiggling, not pulling, wiggling on the plug to get the plug out. Some people are really lucky getting these plugs out. See the dirt and everything? It just sort of acts like glue sometimes. That can be really difficult to get out. So I'm going to go ahead now. I can't hold a camera and show you how to do this. So it's a 10 mil on that nut there, right in the middle of the picture. We're going to undo that, take that wire off. We're going to do a little test first, put the test light on, make sure there's no power there. You know how we disconnect the battery? Just to be sure, so we know we're giving you the correct information. It being 100% instead of 99%. So we're going to test that, we're going to disconnect that nut, and we're going to get that plug out, and then we'll tell you all about it. Okay, so you can see we've got the 10 mil nut off, we've got the wire off, that's easy, and the plug behind it's released as well. It's hard for you to see, but it's released. Now we've got to get this bottom bolt. See in the middle of the picture right now, 12 mil. We're going to go ahead and take that right out, 12 mil. I can't really get the camera on the job because I'm going to be accessing it from the side here. Well, yeah, I am. So, sorry, hang on. Can I sit? Let me see if this... Yeah, nah. Too hard. All right, so, top bolt. Excuse me. Top bolt, the 14 mil. All the way out. See middle of the picture, it's out. Bottom bolt. Can't see it now, it's gone, right? Try and reach in there and show you. Bottom bolt. Like I said, couldn't get it in there, but you can see bottom bracket there, right? See underneath the alternator, the black bracket at the bottom there in front of the hose. You can't see it because the bolt's gone anyway. Now, it's a matter of, I'll try for you, but again, it's one of those things that we just got to wiggle and pull, and eventually it's going to fall. I'm not too worried about it. It's jammed in between the bracket, guys. It's kind of like the deal. So you're kind of like wiggling and pulling, and when it finally comes, you sort of then you've got to catch it and get it out through this gap, right? Hopefully I've shown you enough information to make it more of a help than a hindrance. So I'm just having a look now. Is it coming? Hardly. Bloody, I'm looking at it, right? Look up there, you can see it's still sitting fully on the bracket. It hasn't come out one bit at the moment. So you may need to get a screwdriver in there and give it a bit of a lever. But let's keep doing this for a minute because we like doing things the hard way in this video, right? Give it a good yank. I'll go up the top, see what's going on. You can see it's moving. See the alignment there? Right. See it's moving a little bit. But this is from up the top. Tell you what we'll do. We'll get that wiring loom. That's something else I probably should have told you to unclip. Doesn't really matter, right? But you just lift that little tab there up. Well, and then this wiring loom will slip back out the way. Let me get a flat blade. Alright, so get under that and slip that out like this. Right, that may help, may or may not help. Let's see. Just get that wiring loom out the way, slip that off and lift it up a little bit so it's kind of above the bracket. I don't know that that was in the way, but it doesn't hurt to lift it out of the way to eliminate. Let's go back underneath and do a bit more wiggling and pulling. I feel that it's about to go kaplunk soon. When it sort of falls, you just want to kind of like try and not let it fall. Okay, like that. So see, we caught it, but you're sort of pulling on it a bit. Now we kind of maybe need two hands. Let's see if we can get it out here. Let's see if we can do this one-handed, right? Right, so kind of need the other hand to push this hose up. But we're just going to go like that. We're going to risk it for the biscuit. Right. Gently just bring the alternator out. There's that sucker right there. Okay. Here's your alternator. Alright, Alright, compare the pair. You know, you can see one's been all over Australia, nearly 400,000 Ks. Never really let me down, you know, a bit of a flicker here or there. And you can see why I cough up the, you know, you don't want to know the price of the genuine one, it'll make you sick, you know. We could get the Denso one for, you know, it wasn't that much cheaper in the end, so we just got the Toyota, the Denso. Well, it's a Denso in a Toyota box, whatever, you know, sort of, yeah, you know. Let's not even talk about the prices, guys, but it's up there, mate. You know, it's under $1,000, let's say. So it depends if you got a 120 or a 150, different part numbers and stuff like that, slightly different alternators. Let's get the new one in position and see how we go. Yeah, so no, you think I'm going to try and hold the camera again while I slip this in? Nah, I'm going to use two hands. What we've got to do, we've got to get this alloy here in between on the bracket, okay, which is a bit of a tight fit, you can see, you know, it's the same as the other one, and we just got to squeeze and wiggle and push and wiggle, and once we get it in line, you know, slip the bolt through, and of course the bolt at the bottom as well. I'll give you a bit more info as we put it back together, hopefully not make it look too hard. Just wanted to show you that, you know, it's straightforward job. It is fairly easy. I could have done it easier and quicker, but I don't want to demonstrate that it's too easy because it can be a bit fiddly. And if you're out there doing it for your first time on the side of the road, it's going to be a bit of fun. Okay, so the next little tip is, see where the alternator's got to go. I'll give you a bit of a look around, right? This is where it came from. You know, there's the lower bracket there, right? Up here, see, it's got to fit in between that bracket there, right? So what you do, if you can, is give it a little clean up. If you've got a bit of emery or a bit of wet dry, you probably haven't at the side of the road unless you take that with your spares. Give it a little clean up so it's a bit smoother to slide in and out. Right, and if you can, even put a little bit of, tiniest little bit of grease on the alternator end or this end, whatever you want. And if you're at home, you can give the plug a bit of a clean out if you want. You can see that's why they're a bit hard to get on and off. Seen the plug there, a little bit of sandy grit type thing. Anyway, it's got to go back in there. Let's get it in there. Okay, classic rookie mistake. I slammed my thumb right there. See, I reckon it's going to be, it's like trying to wiggle and push that on. I don't know, I slipped and rammed my thumb there, you know. Not used to this heavy duty stuff, you know. Anyway, it can be quite difficult to get into place, right? So, a couple of things you can do. You can get a small hammer in there and just tap the little spacer. There's like a spacer thing. I call it a spacer, I don't know why I call it that. See that bit of metal at the front there? That's the bit of steel sleeve that's in the alloy. You can tap it forward, that opens up the spacing a little bit. That's one thing you can do. The other thing you can do, as I already previously said, you can clean it, you can lube it. If it's not going to fit, it's not going to fit. You can get a file and just clean up the casting and just make it nice and flat and clean. Between a little tap and a very light file, it slipped straight in, guys. So your spare alternator, maybe just give it a file just to make it, not a lot. I'm not talking millimeters or even a millimeter. Just a clean up file, mate. We're probably talking 0.01, I'd guess. Right, so now we've got it sitting back in place. We just got to slip the big top bolt in, the bottom bolt in, tighten those up, plug it in, wire on, nut on. I'll come back to you with a bit more info. I'm going to get the top bolt in first. All right, so pretty straightforward now, right? So you got your bottom bolt in, right? You can see that at the bottom there, right? The bottom one there, in. Got your top bolt in. All right, that's that one up the top there. All right, 14 mil at the top, 12 at the bottom. Do that one, then do that one, then check that one, then check that one. And then you put your plug in the back over there behind that wire, click, make sure it clicks. Then put your terminal on, make sure it's sitting nice. Put your 10 mil on, just do it up nicely, don't bust anything. We're gonna put that insulating cover back over that 10 mil to protect that from any shorts, and then we're going to slip that belt back on and clip that clamp back on that wiring loop. So I just slipped the belt back on up the top here. It was really easy. Yeah, look, I did make it look a bit hard the first time because it is quite awkward to get in there, and so you need to be prepared for that. What worked, yeah, the 14 mil, the shortest 14 mil you got, single hex or 6-point is the idea. And the breaker bar gave me the correct leverage so I could do it without any problem with ease. And just don't forget to clip that, you know, we clipped that wiring loom back on there because remember we took that off. All right, down the bottom here. Let's have a look in here. Obviously you can see that we've double checked that plug on the back of the alternator is plugged and clicked in. The nut was just nicely nipped up, and that grey cover. So it's all back the way it was, other than popping this and the clip back in, which we can do now. Demo, well, I don't know, it's just too hard, mate. A lot of this stuff is just so awkward to get in there, and you know, that's why I suppose you got to be happy you get what you get, don't you? We've got all the directions here. We've got all the possible problems. This is the easiest one, believe it or not. I'm just looking so unco at the moment. Right, there it is. That clips back in. I don't know if you saw that, but just put that back in. So, you know, even though we cut that away because, you know, the clip went missing and it went over, whatever. Right, stops a bit of mud and stuff getting splashed in the engine bay, really. Right, that's all back together. We're ready to reconnect the battery and start it up and check that it's charging. All right, to be sure, bring your 10mm over. That battery terminal, nice clean connection to the battery. Push it all the way down. Might even need to open it up a bit sometimes, you know. Just make sure you give it a good push and a wiggle to get it all the way down before you start tightening it up. I've demonstrated in other videos, I've said it many times before. Make sure the terminal's all the way down. Keep your finger on it, downward pressure, so the spanner's not wiggling and twisting it, wiggling it up as you're tightening it, because it won't really be, it'll be tight but it won't be tight, right? And to be sure, grab it, go out and make sure, don't bust the terminal off, but just make sure. And I got a sore thumb, I did ram it with when I was putting the alternator back in. Not joking, that was one of the most painful damages I've done on any job for many years. And I'll probably end up with a, keep an eye on videos. If you see a purple thumb, you'll know those videos were made after that impact right there. You probably go, nah, yeah. Oh, mate, it is painful. Let's see if it goes all black and bruised and whatever. Not good. What am I meant to do? Put ice on it or something? Or harden up, drink a bag of cement. All right, guys, we're going to start it up. What we'll do, let's have a look at what tools we needed, hey? Before we pack it away. So, that was the 14mm on the breaker bar for the belt and to crack the top bolt, although we could have done it with the 3/8 ratchet. The deep reach just to give us a bit more reach. You don't actually need a deep reach. You could use a short socket with an extension. I'm sure you could get to it with spanners and whatever as well. The 10mm was for the battery. We talked about the extension. I didn't need that, so we'll go and toss it over there because you don't need that. The flat blade was to pop the little clips off, but I'm sure you got one of those in your toolkit. A little bit of emery paper to give a clean up where it had to slip in, right? And of course the 12mm for the bottom bolt that went on the 3/8 drive. The little hammer that went tap, 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 tap. You didn't see any of that because I just can't get in there, you know. That little sleeve that's on the bracket, tap, 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 tap. Look, to be honest, I'm not sure if that moved it in because I did a little tap, 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 and also got the file and just nicely took a little bit off on each side of the alternator where that bracket's got to slip in. And the most important thing was plenty of water, bottle of water. Fun job, not too bad at all. It's going to be different on the side of the road, in the actual side of the road. The other thing that was handy was the jack, putting the jack under it to lift it up to give me a bit more room between the tyre. So you're probably going to want to think about getting your jack out as well. These are all the tools you need to change your starter motor, really. Pretty basic tools, pretty easy to do. If you plan ahead, you can file your new alternator or your spare alternator, so you won't need that. Let's put that away. What else can we eliminate? You probably don't have to use your bit of wet and dry and clean it up. It'll probably just go on. You might put a little bit of grease on it to help it slip in, but I'm telling you, after that little, and you can use anything, you know, you could get in there with your ratchet, tap, tap, you know, we're not hitting it hard. See, it's the smallest hammer, it's the small one that tap, tap, tap. I'm not sure if it's that moved the sleeve or the little file, but after that tiniest little file and tap, tap, bang, she went in, so easy. I wish I did it the first time, I wouldn't have copped that. Ouch. Anyway, let's get it fired up and check the charge rate. And for those people who are following the info, the red battery, brand new, as I said, brand new, 12.8, and the other red one, I haven't checked it lately, but it was sitting around about the same on the bench anyway. So both of these batteries that got replaced recently, nothing wrong with either of them. We're going to fire it up, just have a look at the charge rate. Always check things, never trust that it works. You could have a faulty one. It's highly unlikely being a genuine Denso product, but let's check it. Let's see what we get. Remembering we've got the voltage booster diode in the fuse box over there, as has been for about yeah, what is it, 6-7 years, whatever it is, yeah, since 2014, early 14, alongside a lot of other people that had them long before then and still have them now, so we don't see issues with those. Start it up. Okay, where's the key? Where's the key? 14.52, slowly going up. Remember, it's got the booster diode, so otherwise it would be around the 14 mark, okay? Same as what the old one was putting out, about the mid-14s. I think it was on, yeah, it used to go up to 14.4, 14.5 sort of thing, so that's all good. Alright guys, I know that was the longer version and we fluffed around a bit at the start, we talked a bit, and I know some of you like that, so this video is for you guys. You know, mucking around with the belt and whatever. Look, the tensioners do have a bit of play in them, so if you notice at the start of the video where I was going, yeah, so that's something that I'm going to check out. I'll probably leave it for now because I did check it 20,000 Ks ago. We had it apart and had a good check of it then. It has done a lot of Ks. We don't see problems with tensioners themselves, just that bearing, and that's due to be replaced again. Yeah, I'd have to work it out. I think it's about 60 or 70,000 Ks. We'll be redoing all the timing belt there and, you know, the timing belt, tension, idler, and at that point we'll do the drive belt and all those bearings again and have a good look at that tensioner. But I think it's fine. I was more, yeah, got a bit sidetracked by noticing that play in it there, but it's worth looking at, it's worth checking. The way I see it here, guys, is we're good for another 400,000 Ks, catching another 12 years. And at the moment, as you know, we've replaced these batteries, so new alternator, new batteries. The starter was checked and cleaned and put new whatever bits it needed into it, and the auto elect said with this genuine starter, he goes, if you've done nearly 400,000 Ks on that, it's going to do another 400,000. He couldn't believe the condition it was in, so quite happy with that. The way I think is, you've got to look to spend, what can I spend next? So on this vehicle, there's a lot of things being replaced with genuine expensive parts. You know, we've got, between the alternator and the batteries here, you got about, just in parts, about 1,500 bucks worth, okay? So hopefully, you know, I like to throw, you know, like I said, like as I recommend you, budget 1,000 to 2 a year on bigger replacement items. You know, this year it's the batteries, the alternator. I can't think of anything else big that's been done this year or that will be. At some point in the future, I might even put a turbo on it as prevention. You're looking around about the 2.7 mark for a new genuine turbo. That's something that I may do. Something else I'm thinking about is the rear door lock. You know, they're about 300 bucks or something like that, so we might have to do a video on that. Don't want to get caught out with the door stuck shut. Not that a new lock will prevent it, but a new lock's better than an old one, right? So we've changed check straps and stuff like that on the front doors. We might do the rear doors. Sometimes they get a bit noisy, that's all. That's what we do, guys. Follow the information. We'll show you the recommendations. Basically, whatever, based on averages from what I see on other vehicles and all the high K vehicles, prevention. It's a bada bing, bada boom. Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of that. If you did, please remember to give us the thumbs up. And I know you're already subscribed and you got the bell on if you've watched this far. And if you haven't, that might be a good idea now. If you think I've earned your subscription, turn that subscription and the bell on so you catch the next information as it comes in. We're planning on releasing about a video a day. It's usually going to be in the evening, Melbourne time, sort of around 7, 8 o'clock if it works out, or if I forget, it'll be later. Depends what's going on. You know, I'm not thinking about that. It just, if it happened, oh yeah, it's about that time, bang. You know, we're in lockdown, not a lot of other things going on. We can concentrate on these things. Anyway, that's how to change an alternator. And if you want me to just quickly recap, we've gone this far, right? So, you know, let's take a step back for a minute and I'll just do a bit of a recap. I'll just come over this side momentarily so I can think. Step-by-step process, okay? You've seen it all. But disconnect the battery, okay? Over here to the drive belt, you've got to put your 14 mil, it's the bottom one. There's, you know, it's clockwise. Just think always clockwise. I demonstrate if you go anti-clockwise, the bolt comes undone. By going clockwise, that tightens the bolt up, if you know what I mean, right? So the top two are just idler pulleys, right? So it's not the top one, it's not the next one down, it's the bottom one, unfortunately. I wish it was the top one. A setup with a tension up towards the top here would probably work well. I just hooked the belt off the alternator. It stayed in place on everything else. When you refit your belt, make sure you check 100% that it didn't move and it's come one tooth out on the crankshaft and everything like that before you start the car. It will start, it will run. It could be off a tooth somewhere. It could damage components. It could shred the belt, cause problems for you later. So you must double check that the belt is on. Another little tip, if you take a belt or you do on your belt, only because I've seen a couple of people do this now, and that is the top of the belt here on the 1KD, it runs underneath the top idler. It runs underneath, okay? Underneath, not on top, guys. Right, so that's one thing I just want to mention. So yeah, disconnect battery, belt off. From the top, you can crack that 14 mil bolt loose and get it, you know, about halfway out. You can take it all the way out if you want. It's not going anywhere. Go down underneath, jack the car up a little bit to give yourself a bit more room. Take the plastic trim off. Take the cover off the contact, you know, for the wire. You know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. Take that grey cover off. 10 mil, undo that. Carefully undo the plug. The problem you got with the plug is you got to press the tab to release it. That's cool. A little wiggle, and then it'll move back a little bit, and it's enough that you don't have to hold the tab anymore. So you can grab the side of the plug and give it a good wiggle sideways, and there's lots of wiggling. And once you learn that, you've just got to be so patient and wiggle and wiggle and wiggle and wiggle, and eventually it'll just come off and you'll go, holy manoli. And I promise you, sometimes you're there wiggling for, I'm not even going to tell you how long, you'll be rolling on the floor in tears. Are you ready? Maybe go to the toilet first, press pause, go half an hour sometimes, and I mean consistent wiggling, and you're just going, am I wasting my time? What's going on? You can try spraying things on there. It just gets messy. It does work. You can spray some CRC. It does work, but then all the dust and that sticks to it later. You know, all this sort of thing, guys. Anyway, right, get the plug off, get that off. Bottom 12 mil, you slip the alternator. Look, none of it, in my opinion, none of it happens from underneath. Then you'd have to take bash plates off. You're getting dirty. Things are falling in your eyes. This way, it's not worth the risk getting stuff in your eyes. What, you're away on a trip, side of the road, or at home. Your eyes are important. Working from the top up here, facing down, you're always fairly safe. And if you're in from the side here, above the wheel, in between your eyes are facing forward. You're not looking up. You've got very low risk of getting anything in your eyes. It's easy access. We've tried different ways. Of course, if you've got this off, guys, if you need to do an alternator, you're at home and you're due for a coolant change anyway, or a big front engine job, then you do it all together. If you've got all this off and this tank out and the fan, you know how easy it is to get that alternator out there. So don't do it this way. If you're doing the big front engine job, if you know your alternator's a bit dodgy, or you've put a Chinese one in and you go, I don't trust it, then hey, just redo it and put the right one in there and do it from the front. This is emergency repair, side of the road, an alternator change. Even if you're in the workshop, that's the easiest way. What I would normally do is I would put it up in the hoist. I would pop the belt off here. I'd crack that bolt loose up here, even though I can do it down there. I'll probably do it up here. I put it up on the hoist. I'd even take that wheel off. I'll take that flap right off. We don't even just do the top and fold it down. Take the flap right off, the wheel right off. I'm getting in there. I've got more room. I can see what's going on. I'm not holding bloody cameras trying to show you guys what's going on. So I hope you appreciate what I'm doing. And sorry I talked a bit more at the end for some people, but you know what? There's the information for you, and it's a bada boom, bada bing. What am I going to do next? You might have seen on the other 120 actually. I replaced these brackets for the heater pipe here. These ones, they're not bad, but hey, guess what? This is what I mean by prevention. I've seen them on the other vehicles. It's very rare that they're a problem. More when they've been knocked around by people working on the car and popping that pipe on and off and busting the clips and stuff. But we're going to change it as a prevention because they're only, I don't know, they're less than $10 each. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Thumbs up, subscribe, bell on. Bada boom, bada bing. Catch up.